Good morning friends and welcome to this edition of Anti-Doping course brought to you by NPTEL and IIT Madras. I'm Professor Dobson Tomnick and this is a continuation of our anti-doping lectures, week 3, lecture number 2. So today we are going to discuss on what are the several anti-doping rule violations articles. In the previous lecture, we looked into the introduction to anti-doping rule violations. We also briefly looked into the 11 articles. In this session, we will look into all the 11 articles in detail. So, these are the week 3 learnings. And today's session, we will focus on broadly on what are the 11 anti-doping rule violations, and we will also briefly see what is the scenario for Indian anti-doping rule violations, and finally conclude with some take-home messages. So, just a recap, what is anti-doping rule violation or ADRV? Presence of a prohibited substance or metabolites in an athlete sample, or use or attempted use of a prohibited substance or prohibited method. So, need not be caught with a positive test. If the athlete is caught even trying to use a banned substance or banned method, that is a anti-doping rule violation. Total 11 anti-doping rule violations are listed in the World Anti-Doping Agency Code 2021. Please note all of this 11 ADRVs are applicable to the athlete, and any of this is caught, then the athlete will be punished. Out of this 11 anti-doping rule violations, 7 of the ADRVs are applicable to the athlete support staff or athlete support personnel also. Now, let us look into the details of all this 11 ADRVs. Now, coming to what is the first Article 1 in anti-doping rule violation is a presence of a prohibited substance or its metabolites or markers in an athlete sample. So, athlete will give two samples, sample A and sample B, and if either of the samples shows the presence of a prohibited substance, can be an anabolic steroid, can be a peptide hormone, can be a diuretic, can be a stimulant, then it falls under Article 1 of ADRV or athlete doping rule violation. Now, coming to the second article, what is Article 2 of ADRV? It is use or attempted use of a prohibited substance or method. That means the athlete might not have tested positive yet, but he was caught trying to use a prohibited substance or trying to use a prohibited method. So, this falls under Article 2 of ADRV. Now, what is Article 3 of anti-doping rule violation? That means an athlete evading, refusing or failing to submit a sample collection. So, during on-field competition testing or off competition test, outside competition testing, if the athlete fails to by refusing or evading to give his sample, then this falls under Article 3 of anti-doping rule violation according to WADA code. What is Article 4 of ADRV? This is when athletes fail to file the whereabout information and there is a missed test. What is it? It is basically a professional athlete. He even needs to give his whereabouts, that is where he is traveling, where he is going to train, to his national association, so that when the anti-doping officers or dope control officer go to his place for testing, he should be available. If he is missing from the testing and 3 subsequent 3 missed test happens in over a period of 1 year or 12 months, then this comes under a whereabout clause failure. Okay. So, he need to fill a whereabout clause form which has to be shared to the National Association, so that they are aware about his training place and traveling place. Article 5 is a process where tampering happens with any part of the doping control process. So, as we already looked in during our previous lectures, there is 2 samples collected during the competition, sample A and sample B. So, the athletes employ several techniques like either a chemical manipulation or a physical manipulation. Either of this tampering falls under Article 5 of ADRVs or anti-doping rule violation. Article 6 is a possession of a prohibited substance or method. That means athlete has not been caught using the substance, he has neither been caught testing positive, but he was only caught with the possession of a prohibited substance or a method. That means the athlete's kit bag contained a banned anabolic steroid, contained a banned diuretic. Then this possession falls under Article 6 of anti-doping rule violation. Article 7 states that the trafficking or attempted trafficking of any prohibited substance or prohibited method. This involves distributing, selling or transporting banned substances or methods. So, it can be again any of stimulants or anabolic steroids. If the athletes are caught with trafficking or attempted trafficking, then it falls under Article 7 of anti-doping rule violation. Article 8 of ADRV is administering or attempting to administer a prohibited substance or a method to an athlete. So, this is when a support staff or a doctor or any of the other paramedics administer a banned drug or a banned substance, or even indulge in a banned method like blood doping or some manipulation, or even research scientists trying to do gene doping, all fall under Article 8 of anti-doping rule violation. Article 9 of ADRV is complicity, helping someone to get away with a violation. Okay? So, that means the athlete has doped and the support staff is trying to help him avoid sanctions. So, complicity or attempted complicity falls under Article 9 of ADRV. Assisting, encouraging, conspiring or covering up of any anti-doping rule violation or attempting to do so all fall under Article 9 of ADRV. Coming to Article 10, Article 10 is a prohibited association working with persons who is dope positive and under sanction for the same. Suppose an athlete, track and field athlete has tested positive, he will be banned for 2 to 4 years. Then if some other athletes are found to be working along with him or her, or the coaches who work with that athlete or the support staff who work with the athlete, they are all liable for sanctions under Article 10 of anti-doping rule violation. Now, there is a newer entrant, Article 11 of ADRV, which was proposed after 2021 World Anti-Doping Code, that is aggravating circumstances. Some bans can be increased, some can be reduced. Some bans can be increased up to a further 2 years in certain circumstances, like the use of multiple prohibited substances. Suppose if an athlete is caught using multiple prohibited substance, then the ban can be increased. Some conditions, some athletes escape with a milder ban who are they? Recreational athletes. They are not professional athletes, but just play for recreation, and protected persons. Increased flexibility are given for them. Substances of abuse. These substances are banned in competition only. That means athletes are caught with some substances which are banned in competition only, but they were caught using that outside competition. In that scenario, shorter bans may be applied, where it is determined that the use of substance took place out of competition and was unrelated to the sports performance. There is recognition, and taking these substances might be a part of a wider substance misuse or addiction problem, and a further reduction in the length of ban may be available if an approved treatment program is completed. So, to summarize, the 11 anti-doping rule violations are presence, use, evasion, refusal of failure, whereabouts failure, tampering with substances, possession of substance, trafficking of banned substance, administering or attempted administration of banned substance, complicity or attempted complicity, prohibited association, and finally act to discourage or retaliate against reporting to authorities. These are the broad 11 anti-doping rule violations, and the 11th one is newly introduced. These are acts where there is an threatened or intimidating cause to the doping process, and this ban can go up to 2 years, up to lifetime, and this can apply both to athletes and the athlete support staff. So, to conclude, again, anti-doping rule violation undermine fair competition in sports. Most violations involve prohibited substance use. Non-analytical violations like tampering or chemical or physical manipulation are also significant. The significant sports which are affected are weightlifting, athletics, and cycling. Enhanced testing and education are key to preventing doping. Collective action is essential for promoting clean sport. Support personnel play a vital role in doping violations and need accountability. Emerging threats like gene doping require a constant vigilance by both National Anti-Doping Agency and also World Anti-Doping Agency. So, these are the main references. Please refer World Anti-Doping Code 2021 and the latest list of prohibited substances 2024 and 2025, and also the National Anti-Doping Codes Acts. Thank you for the listening, and Jai Hind.